Welcome back to another episode of Dark and Disturbed Tales. I am your Master of Ceremonies, Steve Taylor. Thank you for coming. Tonight, we rejoin our protagonist as he continues to fight to stay alive in a world gone mad. Alex and Cheeto leave the destroyed city behind and head 50 miles north to a secluded cabin deep in the woods. What will await them at the end of their journey? Stay tuned and find out. So without further ado, I present to you The Day After Yesterday, Chapter 3. Over the Hills. Written by Leon Hamilton. Narrated by the Nightwatcher. Starring the Ghost of 94 as Alex. Also starring Duchess of Darkness as Jessie. Ha 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 ha.
Walking through the woods, Alex started to imagine the world around him hadn't fallen apart. He stopped and picked up a stick and teased Cheeto with it before throwing it and watching her run after it. A day had passed since leaving the building behind, and as mad as he was at the situation, he was starting to feel like he should have come out here a long, long time ago. The woods were quiet and calm. No tire fires, no roaming packs of assholes looking to rob him blind or worse, eat him. It was looking like they could stay out here forever. The cabin he'd been repairing still needed some work, but no one would be wandering around scavenging out there, so he thought there would be time. Dark clouds rolled across the mid-morning sky as thunder announced its incoming rain. Normally, this trip would take a day and a half, but he was carrying supplies, equipment, and weapons, so it was slow going. By his estimation, it should take him at least another full day to get to where he was going. And even though it wasn't raining yet, Alex decided to find a spot to hold up until it passed. With no caves in the area, he decided to take the tarp from his water collector and use it for an instant shelter. All it took was some rope tied between two trees and a few rocks to keep the tarp from flying off, and he was all set. As the sun vanished behind the clouds, a cool breeze brought the first few drops of rain. Cheeto, who had been enjoying her freedom, came running into the makeshift camp, carrying a dead squirrel in her mouth. Alex smiled and scratched her behind her ears as she wagged her tail and dropped it at his feet.
Good girl. Looks like lunch is on you today.
Once the squirrel was skinned and gutted, he started a small fire and hoped it would be done before things got bad. Luck was on his side for once. He was able to finish cooking in time to eat and settle in as the rain came down. The two of them sat enjoying the breeze till Cheeto made herself comfortable, then went to sleep. Alex, on the other hand, wasn't risking sleeping in the open. Instead, he sat reading to pass the time. Eventually, a dark shape moving through the pouring rain caught his attention. Putting the book down, he picked up his rifle. He quietly tried to focus on what he had seen. It only took a few seconds for him to spot it again. There was someone out there. Whoever they were, they had noticed his shelter Peering through his scope, Alex watched the figure bobbing as it moved. If he had to guess, whoever it was, they were nursing an injured leg. He watched silently as the figure finally spotted him and started walking towards his camp. Cheetah was up and growling in seconds, and as the stranger approached, Alex shouted,
Stop right there. What do you want?
The stranger stopped walking, and a woman's voice called back.
Nothing. I was just passing through. What are you doing out here? It's dangerous.
Finally, getting a good look at her, Alex noticed she didn't look like a nomad or a man-eater. Her clothes looked fairly new, and she was carrying a well-kept assault rifle that was strapped across her chest. Lowering her head, Cheeto growled, and the stranger went wide-eyed.
Is that a wild dog? Why do you have that thing?
Shh. It's okay, girl. It's okay. Keep moving. We don't want any trouble.
Then the stranger stepped back.
I didn't mean any harm. Take it easy. I'll be on my way.
With that, she slowly backed away and moved on, vanishing in the rain. It was an hour or so before it slacked up enough for them to get moving. By nightfall, he covered a lot of ground. At this pace, he could make it to the cabin before dawn. That thought alone gave him a boost of energy, and before long, the roof of the cabin came into view. As he stepped into the clearing, Alex smiled. He had finally made it. The place wasn't much to look at, but at the moment, it was the most beautiful thing in the world. It was old, but it wasn't too bad. He had been making repairs for quite some time now, and also stocking the place with canned goods. There was a comfortable bed and lanterns for light. In the far corner, there was an old wood-burning stove that could supply heat. The repairs he had made were to the roof, but the building itself was sturdy. Once they'd gotten inside, Alex lit a lantern and started unpacking, while Cheeto sniffed around the room. When he finished, he stepped outside and went around the back of the cabin. One of the additions he made was a water collector. It was the basic, same design as the one in the apartment, but this one had a cover. He positioned it under the gutter so the rain would funnel and keep it full during the wet season. Filling a plastic jug, he stood there listening to the sounds of the woods. He'd always been a city boy, but there was something about nature that made him feel at ease. When the jug was full, he walked back to the front, only to be confronted by the same woman from before. Only this time, the gun was aimed at him. She paused and slightly lowered her weapon.
Well, I'll be damned. What are you doing here?
Trying not to make any sudden moves, Alex glanced around looking for more people.
It's my place. What are you doing here?
Slightly smirking, she lowered her gun.
Relax. I'm looking to make a trade. I'll give you a couple of MREs if you let me stay for a day or two.
Thinking about it for a second, Alex looked her over. If she wanted to, she could have just shot him and taken the place. Instead, she was offering food and trade.
Keep your food. You can stay for the night, but after that, You're on your own.
Walking over, extending her hand, she smiled.
I'm Jessie. Good meeting you again.
I'm Alex. That's Cheeto.
He said, pointing to the window where the dog was watching them. Jessie looked at the dog, then back to him.
Like the chips? Okay. Well, he's not gonna bite me, is he? I've had about enough of that for a lifetime.
She paused and lifted up her pants to reveal an infected bite on her calf. Shaking his head and getting a look at her wound, Alex shrugged.
She, and maybe, as long as you don't do anything stupid, you should be okay.
It took a bit of convincing, but Cheeto finally calmed down and let Jessie come inside without attacking her. Alex handed her the first aid kit, then went to his pack and grabbed some of the dried raccoon meat and tossed it in a pot along with some boiling water and a can of potatoes to make stew. Jessie in turn dug in her pack and retrieved a big bag of instant coffee. Alex's jaw dropped at the sight of it. It had been months since he'd even smelled coffee, let alone enough to last a while.
Holy shit. Where'd you get that? Oh, I'd sell my soul for half a cup.
Tell you what, that food smells amazing. I'll put on a full pot and share it, if I can get a bowl. And to sweeten the deal, I may not have sugar or cream, but what I do have are these.
She'd pulled another smaller bag from her backpack, containing Werther's hard candy.
Toss a few of these into the pot while it's brewing, and I guarantee the best coffee you've ever had.
It was a deal. The aroma of fresh coffee and stew filled the little cabin. Even Cheeto seemed happy. They ate and drank coffee. Then Jessie pulled one final surprise from her bag. A medium-sized metal tin filled with weed and rolling papers. Alex watched in awe as she rolled one up and lit it. Taking another sip of his coffee, he smiled.
Oh my god. I think I love you. Seriously, where did you get all of this?
Lighting the joint and hitting it a few times, she held her last drag and passed it. Exhaling, then taking a breath, she relaxed in her seat and began to speak.
I was up in the mountains a few weeks ago, and I came across a delivery truck stashed in an old mine. The place was packed with wild dogs, but I didn't know it till it was too late. Anyway, there were pallets of coffee in it, and hidden in one of the 50-pound bags, I found a few pounds of smoke. I was gonna take the truck, but before I could, the mutts attacked me. I barely made it out of there. The MREs are from my brother. He died a few days before I found the truck. We were looking for a little sister. A pair of nomads took her. I tracked them to the mine and from there to here. I think they may have gone into the city, but I wanted to check the woods first. That's how I ran into you. So what are you doing out here?
Exhaling his last hit and passing the weed, Alex glanced over at Cheeto and shook his head.
I had a place in the city. I'd been there for a long time, then one day people started showing up. The first group robbed me. The second group led man-eaters to my door. After I killed them, their gang flooded the neighborhood, so I left. I had been getting this place ready. I wasn't planning on moving till summer, but, things change.
Hitting the joint and passing it, Jesse paused.
Did any of the people that showed up have a kid with them?
Yeah. The first group had a girl with them. The lady said she had a husband, but I never saw him. He clubbed me over the head and they took my stuff. I know what you're thinking, but that was months ago, and even if it was them, they didn't make it. I saw man-eaters taking the woman. A few days later, I saw a guy and a kid get taken by the same group. I can't say if it was who you're looking for, but if they were in the area around that time, they got eaten.
The conversation died after that. They sat silent for a long while before finally calling it a night. Laying there in the dark, Alex stared up at the ceiling as he drifted off. Despite not really knowing Jesse, he was sort of happy she'd shown up. Having Cheeto around was great, but actually being able to talk to someone was a whole different thing. It had been a long time since he had a conversation that didn't end in gunfire, and a part of him missed it. Smiling to himself and shutting his eyes, Alex finally drifted off just as the morning sun was starting to rise.
Well now, have Alex and Cheeto finally found peace in a world that has gone insane? Only time will tell. Be sure to tune in for Chapter 4, Smiling Faces, coming soon, here at Dark and Disturbed Tales. Well, friends, it is time for me to go. I want to thank you once again for joining me here at Dark and Disturbed Tales. I am your host, Steve Taylor. Until next time, let the darkness be your guide to more dark and disturbed tales.